Is this really necessary?
Anti-vaxxers are using the same tactics as cults do to attract followers on social media.
I know how to get more people to take the vaccine. Let's call them all cult members. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to listen to this old saggy douche explain himself why the unvaccinated are a cult. We're going to go over 6 tactics that cult leaders do to try to influence their members. We're going to take on what is the real issue of the right. And then I'm going to politely ask you to comment and subscribe, especially if you don't agree with me.
Our next guest wrote an op-ed for CNN.com titled, quote, "Anti-vaxxers are using the same tactics as cults do to attract followers on social media." Help us understand how the tactics of a cult overlap with the anti-vax community.
Information control, which is lying, outright lying, withholding vital information or distorting it intentionally. And then the second point is part of the BITE model, the behavior, information, thought, and emotional control model that I've developed, is the deliberate installation of phobias or irrational fears to short-circuit people's critical thinking and analytic minds to be so afraid that they're misjudging the danger that people are in.
Okay, let's quickly respond to this, what this old douchebag had to say. For one, he was talking about misinformation. So there are people that do misinformation, and I do not condone it out there, but it's not the majority of the people on the right, and it's not the majority of the unvaccinated. Basically, they want to have the liberty to do what they want with their own bodies. I think the left can identify with that. The second thing is dealing with irrational fears that the unvaccinated have. That is not the MO of the unvaccinated. Basically, they don't even have enough fear. They don't have enough fear that they're going to really catch it. They don't have any fear that they're going to die from it. And they don't have any fear of spreading it to other people. That's one of the problems. It's the problems that they don't have fear. And then this moron is trying to say that they do. This is incredibly dumb. Now let's go over the 6 tactics that actual cult leaders do to try to manipulate their members to make sure that they fall in line, to make sure that they do what they're told. And let's reflect to see if any of it seems familiar on what's going on, especially in terms of the left. The first one is to speak on people's emotions. So I see that a lot from the left, especially talking about how many people have actually died and how we can basically affect people, when we do not wear our masks and if we do not get vaccinated, because it's not just a danger to ourselves, it's also a danger to others. But then we have our president even saying things like this to kind of take it another step.
And to make matters worse, there are elected officials actively working to undermine the fight against COVID-19. Instead of encouraging people to get vaccinated and mask up, they're ordering mobile morgues for the unvaccinated dying from COVID in their communities.
The second is to provide simple and absolute answers to everything. All we actually hear from everybody, especially throughout this whole pandemic, just follow the science. Follow the data and the science. Follow the data and the science. But one of the problems is the goalposts keep moving, and some of the science or data that they so claim, that doesn't actually make sense, especially wearing masks when you're on an airplane, or wearing masks when you go to the restaurant, but when you sit down, you're able to eat and everything's just fine. We're just supposed to be able to accept that. The third one is to create an urgent scarcity. But frankly, I don't think that's really going on. I don't think the left or the right is actually doing this right now. The only thing I kind of hear in regards to this is that we need to hurry up and stop the spread. But no duh, right? So this I won't really count against them. The next item is one of the things that happens the most, is relying on peer pressure to change people's minds. A lot of people on the left, especially late night hosts, love to make people feel guilty. They love to shame them. They love to use peer pressure against them. Make everybody else seem crazy for different beliefs. Even if you do not share the same beliefs, you need to be able to look at that and say, hey. Okay, I don't agree with that, but I know what you're doing, and it's a form of manipulation, and I don't like it.
They are. The people who aided and abetted Trump are stupid because they believed his big lie. The people who are not getting vaccines, who are believing the lies on the internet instead of science, it's time to start shaming them. What else? Or leave them behind.
The fifth one is keeping your audience hooked on the offering. So basically what this kind of means is that, hey, we'll offer you something else if you do what we want, or if you pay a little bit more into something. So this kind of half applies and half doesn't. So the reason why this wouldn't apply is because the vaccines are basically free, right? So there shouldn't be any reason for people not to go out and get them. However, one of the main selling points is that you're able to do more once you're vaccinated. But now it seems that a lot of that is kind of going away because the variant has been getting so strong and so many people are getting sick now. So now it seems like we have to have someone to blame, especially when the goalposts keep moving and they're going to say, oh, well, now even if you had 2 shots, you're going to need a booster. Or, hey, there's going to be daily pills that Pfizer might actually have that you're going to have to take. And it seems like the goalposts keep moving, but we're not actually progressing or actually getting farther.
Showing very, very clearly that when you give a person who's received 2 doses of an mRNA, in this case, Pfizer, when you give that person a boost, you dramatically diminish the infection, you dramatically diminish the likelihood of getting a severe outcome. And importantly, there are early data that are now showing that you actually begin to show a diminution in the transmission itself.
The sixth and last one is to cultivate an us versus them mindset, especially from our late night hosts and from our political leaders. Here are some examples of that just happening.
This is a pandemic of the unvaccinated.
Dr. Fauci said that if hospitals get any more overcrowded, they're going to have to make some very tough choices about who gets an ICU bed. That choice doesn't seem so tough to me. Vaccinated person having a heart attack? Yes, come right on in. We'll take care of you. Unvaccinated guy who gobbled horse goo? Rest in peace, Wheezy.
These 6 manipulation tactics can be found in a website that I'm going to provide in the description for you. Just because I'm going on this rant on CNN or I'm going on this rant against the left, it doesn't mean the right is without their problems as well. Though I never heard them to not take the vaccine, they have made a lot of cases where it seems the vaccine isn't as deadly as everybody claims. And they also like to push liberty more than actually speaking to a doctor about your own health, the importance of the vaccine, and the importance it will have on other people. It's not really misinformation, but it's keeping people on the other side. It's keeping people like, oh yeah, I don't like what they're doing. Yeah, they are kind of jerks. You know what? That's why I'm not going to get it. I'm going to do it because they're telling me to. I'm going to do it out of spite. And that's not a reason why we should have people making their medical decisions on. This is not an anti-vaccine video. This video is to kind of cut away from a lot of the bullshit that's kind of going on and to get people to treat others like normal people. If there's an actual argument, we should attack the argument, not the people themselves. I would like to thank you for making it to the end of this video. I really do appreciate it. Not many people actually get to the end of my videos. You know, I'm just starting out, right? So, why bother? However, I would love for you to leave a comment just to kind of give your point of view. Even if you do not agree with me, if you think I am completely wrong, I still want to hear from you. And please subscribe, and then we can maybe create a dialogue one of these days. Or maybe you could just see me rant and maybe that would be good enough.